Hello friends, how are you? Fine. So we are coming to the end of this lesson, the last spring. This is lecture number 7. And now as usual, we are following the communicative method of teaching, and therefore we begin with these phrases or words which are difficult for you. We will explain and then we will go through the main points, and further we will read the lesson, and at the end we will answer all the questions. Okay. So voice drained of joy means voice there is no touch of happiness. For example, when the announcer announced the sad demise of our dearest SPB, her voice was drained of joy. Very sad. Rings in every home, heard in every home. A cry of lament, of poverty can be heard in every home in Firozabad, Bangalore makers, because they don't have enough to eat, or they have no money for extra money for doing anything. Echo the lament, repeat the cry. Lament means cry, echo. You can hear the echo means you know what is echo. So means repeat the lament. So every home, the cry of poverty is. Every home echoes the lament of poverty. Every home echoes. And especially you will find people who live in slums. In every home echoes the cry of poverty. Mind-numbing toil. Numbing means having no feeling. Sensation, that's it. Mind-numbing toil. If you do a work from your birth to death, that will become mind-numbing. It's very dull, and there is absolutely no enjoyment in doing that. It is a drudgery, we say. You do the same thing again and again. Mind. For example, dishwashing is a mind-numbing toil. Toil means a work. Understand? And then vicious circle means many causes, vicious cause, many causes creating problems or difficulties for others. For example, when he said, we are all in a vicious circle of politics, we can say. Politics and corruption, and that's vicious, many causes. Politics, corruption, then apathy means indifference of bureaucrats. So, and then you find the middlemen exploiting. So these things together, they create problems. So when you have many causes creating a problem or make things difficult or make it difficult to live, then we say we are in a vicious circle. Understand? Not all politicians, but corrupt politicians. There are very good politicians also. Okay. Then you have a hold up, means pulled up. You are pulled up, you are dragged. So policemen haul up criminals. They pull them up, they catch hold of them and take them to prison. Embarrassment turned into regret. You know the story of prodigal son. When the prodigal son saw his father, his embarrassment turned into regret. Embarrassment means a feeling of shame. So that feeling of shame, he felt very sad after that. The feeling of shame changed. And then instead of that came regret. This means feel sorry for what he had done. Now hurtling down, moving fast, very fast, hurtling down. Sometimes you can see cars hurtling down the road. It's moving very fast. Bikes hurtling down. When young men are riding bikes, the bikes you can see hurtling down, means moving very fast. I think all these words are now clear and you have understood the meanings, and you can use them in sentences of your own, and then you have mastered it or internalized it. Okay, so the main points today or highlights you can say, he means Mukesh's father. Mukesh's father has a roof over his head. That's a great achievement as far as he is concerned, which many others have not. Many of them don't have even a roof above their head, but he has. Then fallen into vicious circle of sahukars. So in this lesson you will find sahukars, middlemen, no initiatives, no power to dream, uppity, corrupt politicians, policemen, and all those things. So that is vicious circle. Many causes create life difficult. Even unable to move in certain cases. Poor people always are in a vicious circle. Families caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste system. So these people, bangle makers of Hiroshima, they are already poor. More than that, what happened? They have got the stigma, that mark, the stamp, stigma, the stamp. What is the stamp? The stamp of caste. So that you are born in bangle makers caste, so don't dare to do any other thing. They are very strict. They have to follow. If not, if they make any change, or dare or dream, then dare to do anything else, then the policeman will come and catch hold of them and throw them in prison and say, you have done something illegal. So that is a kind of vicious circle. Yes. And now we have got a flash of hope in Mukesh. A little bit of hope in Mukesh. Why? Mukesh has decided to become a motor mechanic. So that is thinking differently. So the author says that there is some hope. There is a flash of hope in the determination expressed by Mukesh, because he does not want to continue this professional job. He is not bothered about the caste system. He wants to go out of it, think differently, and then become a motor mechanic and someday a driver. That's what he said. Or his own, maybe his own car. Yes. We hope that, let's hope that he will have his own car. Okay, that's a good hope. Okay. Now we'll go through the lesson. Like the old woman beside her who became one many years ago. Who became one means the young woman here is, we have already seen, isn't it? We have already seen the young woman. And like the young woman is there and she is getting ready, so to say. At the right age she will become a bride. A bride, exactly like that he says. Once upon a time this old woman also was a bride. And this young woman is going to become a bride. She still has bangles on her wrist. Means mother here. This old woman has bangles on her wrist, but no light in her eyes. So the same thing will happen again to this young woman also. This young woman is also going to get married, and then she will also have her bangles on her wrist, but towards, say, probably after 60 or so, she will also go blind. There will be no light in her eyes. The same fate for mother, same fate for daughter. She still has एक वक्त means time, सब भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. She says in a voice drained of joy. Drained of joy means very sad voice. No joy at all. Drainage, water drainage. She has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire lifetime. That's what she has reaped. So she says that एक वक्त सब भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. That means I have not eaten one full meal in my lifetime. Her husband, now what about her husband? The daughter is awaiting the same fate. Mother has already suffering the fate. Now what about the husband? Her husband, an old man with flowing beard, says, I know nothing except bangles. All I have done is to make a house for the family to live in. And we saw what kind of a house was that. With the wobbly doors, isn't it? And half thatched with dead grass, half with tarpaulin, and part of it is open to the sky. He has a roof over his head. It seems that it is a great achievement that he has a roof over his head. The cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. So this cry that we don't have even enough to eat. We are poor. We have no money to do anything except just to continue hand-to-mouth existence. This you can hear from every home. That's what the cry. This rings in every home. We can hear it in every home. The young men echo the lament of their elders. They repeat the lament, cry, this cry. What is this cry? We are very poor, we have no money, we cannot do anything, just carry on our life, and even we don't have a decent roof above our heads. A little had moved with the time, it seems, in philosopher. The philosopher, time stands still, there is no progress. The reason is this vicious circle. This vicious circle of bureaucrats, policemen, corrupt politicians, indifference, unable to dream, unable to dare, because they have got the stigma of the caste on them. So they accept their fate. They resign themselves to this fate. That's a very sad situation. This is the cry of having no money. The young men echo the lament of their elders. Little had moved with time, it seems, in philosopher. In philosopher, time stands still. Years of mind-numbing toil. Mind-numbing toil means they have lost they have no feeling. They are doing it mechanically, just moving their fingers. They don't think about it. They don't think that they are doing something great. They don't think that they are not conscious of the fact that even what they are doing. So mind-numbing toil have killed all the initiative and the ability to dream. So who has killed the initiative? This years and years of mind-numbing toil, and also they have no ability to dream. Why not organize yourselves into a cooperative? I ask a group of young men who have fallen into the vicious circle of middlemen who trapped their fathers and forefathers. So a group of, now this is the third generation, forefathers, father, this young man. So I ask, why don't you change? This is 20th century. And then what is the answer for them? Even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be held up. Means pulled out of your homes, that is actually hold up means, hold up by the police, beaten and dragged to jail for doing something illegal, they say. So organizing themselves into cooperatives is something illegal according to the police. So if you organize, if you show some take initiative and you start dreaming or daring, then the next day they will come and catch hold of you. And why? Because they have been prompted by sahukars or the middlemen. Understand? So they cannot do anything. They are actually, what we say, in a catch-22 situation. Nothing can be done. That is, catch-22 is a very famous novel. Now something illegal, they say, there is no leader among them. No one could help them see things differently. No leader, no daring, no dreaming, no one is allowed to take initiative. If you take initiative and think differently, you will be booked by the police and taken to the jail and beaten up. What to do? Dragged, they say. The police even don't consider them as humans. They consider them animals. They drag them and take them to what a sad situation. See things. So when you think of this, think of the blessed situation in which you are, where you are in. So think of, as I have been telling you very often during this, when I was taking this lesson, think of your blessed situation and make the best of the situation. Understand? And when you grow up, try to help such kind of people. That's what you should do. So the leader, no leader among them. There is no leader among them. No one could help them see things differently. Their fathers are as tired as they are. So you can see three generations of people already. Before that also they were doing the same thing, but the author brings before us three generations. For grandfather and their grandfather, then their forefathers, then fathers, and these people. They talk endlessly on a spiral that moves from poverty to apathy, to greed and to injustice. Spiral means like a spring spiral. So that is, spring has got many steps, like that. Poverty, then to apathy means indifference, nobody is bothered about them. Then greed by other people and injustice. So that is like a spiral. They talk about it. Listening to them, I see two distinct worlds, two different worlds. One of the family caught in the web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other, a vicious circle of sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. So you have got a number of causes. This number of causes create this vicious circle from which you cannot go out, get out. If you try to get out, somebody will come and say, oh, you have done, the policeman will come and say, you have done something illegal, come, go to the station, he will talk about that, what can they do. So that is what he called life is like a pathless wood for these people. Unable to do anything, and that's what I said, a catch-22 situation where you are unable to do anything. Together, they have the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Together means these people. Who are the people? You can see that the web of poverty, that is situation, burdened by the stigma of the caste, another situation. They are born, then the vicious circle of these men. Put the baggage on their back. While you people put your school bag on your back and enjoy life, these people, they have got this baggage of caste, stigma of the caste, poverty, and also this vicious circle created by or made by this group of people, policemen, keepers of the law, middlemen, and all those. Before he is aware, he accepted as naturally as his father. So he sees the same thing what that is undergone by his father. So he thinks that this is inheritance. So he thinks, okay, I resign myself. I accept this situation. That is naturally. To do anything else would mean to dare. If you like Mukesh, if you start doing anything, think of any other profession, that is daring. But daring means be brave, isn't it? To take a step, a new step, a different step. That is daring means. So he says, they are not allowed to do it. Before he is aware, he accepts it, and then it is daring. And daring is not part of his growing up. You are not allowed to dare. You are not allowed to take initiative. You have to accept this baggage on your back as naturally as your nose or your hands. See, when you are born, you are conscious, you will find your hands, legs, and so that is natural. So there is a bag that is natural. That way you have to accept. There is no way out. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, it means daring. It means differential thinking. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. I am very happy. I want to be a motor mechanic, he repeats. Say that whatever happens, I will not go back to these hovels and do this mind-numbing toil throughout my life, and I will have nothing to eat, nothing, not even 50 rupees to do something extra or go for a tour or build a good house. 50 rupees will not be enough for building a new house. But that is the thing. He says, I feel very happy. I am cheered. And he says, I will. And then he says, I have problems. What is that? The garage is long away from his home. I will walk the distance. This is what he says. Yes, I am not. There is no way. It's far away from here. I don't care. I will do it. I am determined. I will become a motor mechanic. Later on, a driver. I will drive. I will even become a pilot. Sometimes he may be dreaming. And then do you also dream of flying up? Sorry. I will walk the distance. He insists. Says that definitely I will. He repeats the same thing. I will. Whatever happens, I will do. Do you also dream of flying a plane? I ask. He is suddenly silent. Because he has rarely or probably seldom a plane flies over this. Seldom have they seen a plane. Flying there or moving from one place to another. Nothing of that sort. Plane is still a dream for him. Yes. Then he says, no, he says in his Muhammad there is, no, he says, staring at the ground. Staring means looking straight at the ground and then silent. Because he has not seen, he has never, his horizon of dreaming it ends at the car level, motor mechanic level, not further. That's the end point. That's the end point of his dream. And therefore he has never seen, seldom has he seen a plane flying across the sky of Firozabad. Then no one says that his murmur says. And in his small murmur, there is an embarrassment that he has not yet turned into regret. So the opposite of that. Here it is, what I have written is embarrassment turned into regret. That is the prodigal son. Here not yet turned into regret. He's thinking like this. How will it be possible? But still he is not sorry about it. Why he is not sorry about it? Because most probably it's impossible in his life. So why should he feel sorry about it? He said that if somebody asks about Mukesh, do you want to become a king? Then he will feel embarrassed and he won't feel any regret. Why? Because it's impossible in his life to become a king. And then he says he is content to dream. He is satisfied with dreaming. Dreaming of cars that he sees hurtling down. In his dream, he sees cars hurtling down the road, moving very fast. The streets of his town, few aeroplanes flying over Firozabad. Firozabad level, plane level, he cannot dream. Plane level. As I said, king level, he cannot dream. What maximum he could think of is becoming a driver of a fast passenger, not any other thing. That is the end point. Poor people. So we have gone through this lesson and we find that all those people we have seen, Sahab, then we have Mukesh, family members of Mukesh, everyone we have seen a lost spring. Lost spring. Spring here stands for a happy life, a life where you enjoy at least certain luxuries, a life without being harassed by a vicious circle, a life that is free, a life that you can dream, a life that you can dare, a life where there is sympathy instead of apathy, a life where there is love, understanding, recognition, respect. But here there is no such. What is happening here is mind-numbing toil from birth to death. So that is lost spring. They have no idea about it. Not even a full meal. What a sad situation. Understand? The question is, what is that vicious circle where the Bible makers are in? So vicious circle we have seen very clearly. You will find listening to them to see distinct words. One of the family caught in web of poverty, burdened by stigma of caste in which they are born, the other vicious circle. So the vicious circle is of the sahukas, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats and the politicians. They create the vicious circle. Understand? And it is in this vicious circle they are in. Why are the young men afraid of organizing themselves? They are afraid of organizing themselves because first they are no leader for them. Secondly, if they organize, that is considered as illegal. The police will catch hold of them and they beat them up. Drag them to the station and beat them up. They will say, you have done something illegal. Another thing, they are unable to dare. They are unable to dream. They have to accept the baggage as natural as the organs of the body. So that is why they cannot organize. The main point is beaten up by police. Then third question, what prevents them from doing daring and dreaming? Because years of mind-numbing toil has made the whole situation numb, unable to come out of it. So they cannot dare, they cannot dream. Only if they are free, you can dream and dare. Here there is no freedom, absolutely. You are born as a bangle maker, live as a bangle maker, die as a bangle maker. You are born with light in your eyes. Then as you grow, the light slowly becomes dim, and towards the end of the life, your life, the light disappears. Yes. And the fourth question, who puts the bandage on the child's spine? This vicious circle. And what is the vicious circle? We have already seen. And they have to accept it as natural, as something natural. So this is a vicious circle. They are the people who do it. What are the two words mentioned here? The two words we have already seen, but that point comes again and again, because that is probably the most important one here. Two distinct words. One of the family caught in web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other a vicious circle of sarkars, policemen, bureaucrats, politicians, and keepers of the law. So these are the two. It's a very important question. And then, who gives a flash of hope and why? When I hear, the author says, when I hear that Mukesh wants to become a motor mechanic and not to continue his family's caste profession, the profession of his caste imposed on him, then she says, there is a flash of hope in me. Mukesh has started to dream. But even there, he has limitation. He is unable to dream of planes, but he can only dream of cars. And cars cut him down. The roads in Firozabad. What a sad situation. Isn't it? So my dear friends, once again, as I am concluding this, I would humbly request you, make the best of your time. One thing. Secondly, when you grow old, start earning plenty of money, think of these people and then try to do whatever is possible for them by you. You have been reading about multi-millionaires and billionaires doing charity. Bill Gates was Warren Buffett. There is another gentleman in UP who started his life as a diamond merchant. And he started his life not as a diamond merchant. He started with some business. His father was doing a business and he continued. Now he is a diamond merchant. His assets are in millions or billions. What is he doing now? He is conducting mass weddings every year. 300, 400 couples. 300 or 400 every year. And for each bride he gives 2 lakhs. And marriage is conducted for the marriage. It's a mass wedding, but still he spends about 2 to 3 lakhs on every person, dress and other things. So that is what we should do. This is not just for question answer and writing down the right answer and learning all these words and phrases, and you should do it. More than that, carry something with you when you go out of this class. And that is such things. Then you will say, I am not a diamond merchant, I cannot do that. Yes, even now in this class you are sitting, you can do a lot of things. You can give a poor boy, buy a pen and give. Isn't it? And you can spot a poor boy's family and then without even knowing that boy or the family, you can do some help. Isn't it? So that's what you should do. Don't wait for you to become a millionaire or billionaire or a diamond merchant. Not necessarily. But even at this stage you can do something. Start. You will find the joy of giving. September is the month where we have got a week, joy of giving. Start giving, then you will really enjoy the happiness, the mental peace, and the joy of life. Bye. Have a nice day.